Welcome to the test review video for quadratic functions. We're now on number 7, and the question is what is the vertex and axis of symmetry? So we're going, since this is in standard form where we can't see the vertex just by seeing how far it's being shifted right, left, or up or down, I'm going to have to go find the axis. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to use x equal negative b over 2a. B is the 10. A is the 5 that is from the original equation. So negative 10 over 2 times 5. And that's basically negative 10 over 10. So negative 10 over 10 is going to be negative 1. Okay. Once I have the axis of symmetry, and then I can plug negative 1 into the original equation. I'm going to plug it into x. So I'm going to go y equals 5. Oops. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get rid of that. Okay. 5 times negative 1, and I'm plugging negative 1 into x, so that negative is going to be squared, plus 10 times negative 1 plus 7. Okay. Now, because this negative 1 is squared, that's going to make that a positive 1, and so that's going to make that 5. And then that 10 and negative 1 is going to make that a negative 10 plus 7. So that's really 5 plus 7, and 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 minus 10 is 2. So my vertex is negative 1, 2. So at this point, I have my axis of symmetry, is x equal negative 1. I have my vertex, which is negative 1, 2. And the other question this is asking is, does it have a maximum or minimum? And I know that because there's no negative sitting in front here, I know that this parabola is facing upward, and so it has a minimum because this is far down as it's gonna go. So the answer is that it is a minimum. And if I were to say what the minimum was, all I'd have to do is just look at the vertex and go y equals 2 is the minimum. Okay? All right, so let's try number 8. For this problem, it's asking, what would I do to this equation in order to make it have 2 real solutions? Because at this point, if I were to graph this, and I would go all the way up to 9, let's say this is 9 up here. And if I graphed it, I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. If I graphed it, 9 is way up here. It's not crossing the x-axis. This equation has 2 imaginary solutions. In order to have 2 real solutions, it'd have to be below 0. Now, think about this. As soon as I go to 0, I have one solution. As soon as I go right here, I've got one real solution, but that's at 0. I want it to go below 0. So in order to change that, as soon as I go past 0, it could be anything, okay? Anything past 0 in this place right here is going to make 2 real solutions, okay? So I could use -1, I could use whole numbers, I could use negative fractions, I could take the original equation x squared plus 9 and just make it minus 9. So really it's anything minus 0, and that'll get me 2 real solutions. And that's all you have to do for number 8. For number 9, they've asked us to write the equation, and they're giving us the vertex. So I'm going to go ahead and start writing my equation. Y equals, I don't know what the number is in front. I'm going to go ahead and put an A right here. And I know that they want me to make it a vertex of 1, comma 5. And so remember that if you were shifting it right and left, this would be opposite. So I'd make a -1 right here. To make it a +1 in the vertex, it has to be a -1 in the equation, and then I would have +5. Okay. Now, what they want you to do is pass it through 0, comma 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 0 and 15 into the equation. I'm going to put the 15 is going to go here, and the 0 is going to go right here. Okay. Now the only other variable I have left is a. The reason why we're doing this is so that we can find a, because if the parabola goes through 1, comma 5, and if it passes through 0, 15, just think about it. It's passing through both of these points. So if that's the case, then the only thing I need to find out is how skinny or how wide is the parabola. And this right here tells me that information. So all I have to do is solve for a. So I've got a. And 0 minus 1 is -1 squared. So this -1 squared is just 1 plus 5. Okay. All right. So then in order to get 5 on the other side, I'm going to subtract 5. Okay. And I get 10. Equals. And that 1a is just a. Okay, so now I know what a is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write the equation like it's supposed to look now. So I don't care about it passing through anymore. I'm going to go y equals 10 is how skinny it's going to be. It is going through the vertex 1, comma 5. And now I am done. Okay, so the answer is this equation here. Y equals 10 times x minus 1 squared plus 5. All right, let's do the same thing with number 10. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start writing the equation. So I'm going to put the vertex in first. And I've got a here. And the vertex is x. Now, if that's -2, it needs to be opposite since it's going in here with the x. So that's x plus 2, which would make your -2 when you actually plotted the vertex. And then -6, because the number on the outside is just whatever number it is. It's not opposite. Okay, now the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the number that they're passing through. So they told me they, on the question it says that it's a vertex of -2, -6, and it's passing through -1, -10. So -10 is the y, so I'm going to take the -10, I'm going to put the -10 here, and the -1 is going right here. So 2 minus 1 is going to be 1, so we're going to solve for a. And so 2 minus 1 is 1, so that's 1 squared, and then -6. I'm going to go ahead and add 6 over on the other side because I want to solve for a. So -10 plus 6 is -4. And that's 1 squared. It's 1 squared. A is just 1a, or just a. And now in order to show my answer, I've got to write the equation. And so the equation is y equals -4. And I'm just going to take the vertex that I had before. It's right up here, so I can just rewrite the whole thing. X plus 2 squared minus 6. Okay, and that is my answer for number 10. All right, so for number 11, we need to write the quadratic equations again, but this time we're going to use the focus. So I'm just going to kind of draw it out a little bit so I can see it. And I'm going to do, so 0, 0 is right here. And then 0, 6 is up here. Okay, so now I know my parabola is facing this way. And I know if I count from 0 to 6 that P is going to equal 6. So these are the pieces of information that I need, because in order to do this, I know it's going to be y equals x squared. Okay. Now, normally we have a formula that has the 4p and the x squared in the formula. Okay, so what I need to do is put 6 in for the p. Okay, and then I'm going to write it like we're used to seeing it. So I'm going to put the 24, divide the 24 on the other side. Let's get rid of that. And so that's just going to be 1 over 24 x squared. And that's my answer. Okay. All right, so let's do it again. This time we're going to do number 12, and we're going to draw the graph again. So we're at 0, 0 again, and we're at x equal -4. So x equal -4 is over here. This is your directrix. So the focus has to be over here at +4. Okay, so I know that my parabola is facing to the right. I also know that P from the vertex to the focus is 4 steps. So I'm going to use my equation my formula, and that's going to be 4px equals y squared. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in p, so we're going to go 4 times 4 x. Now, how did I know that I needed to use a +4? Well, because I went to the right when I first just sketched the graph. So now in order to write this like we're used to seeing it, we're going to write 16. 16 is going to be divided over, so I'll just put it underneath 1. And we got x equals 1 over 16 y squared. Okay, and that is going to be my answer. Okay, let's do the last problem that requires us to write the equation using focus. Okay, so one more time, I'm going to graph. I need to be able to see where it is. Okay, so if I'm at 0, 0, and if I'm at y equal -2, so down here is the directrix. That means that the focus has to be in the opposite direction. That means it's over here. And the parabola is wrapping around it. And P, the number of steps I'm taking from the vertex to the focus, P equals +2. So I know this is facing up. So this can be a 4py equals x squared. So we're going to take 4p, 4 times 2, which is the p, y equals x squared. I know I want to put the 8 over on the other side just to make it look like we're used to seeing it. So I'm going to divide the 8, so I'm going to make it 1/8 x squared. Okay, and that is your answer for that one. Okay, well, thank you for watching these videos. The next problems we have will continue for this test review, so check out what we have next.